Good evening, members, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this meeting of Plan Subcommittee East. I must read the following announcement. I would like to remind everyone present that this meeting will be broadcast live to the internet or filmed and will be capable of repeated viewing or another use by such third parties. Please could I also remind members of the public who have registered to speak that they will be admitted to the meeting at the appropriate time. Please also be aware that if technical difficulties interrupt the meeting that cannot be overcome, I may need to adjourn the meeting. My name is Councillor Paul Kesker. I am the chairman for this evening's meeting. My vice chairman is Councillor Heather Brady. Our planning officers for tonight are Graham Courtney and Andrew Marks. And from Democratic Services, Rebecca Perrin and Vivienne Messenger. We'll move to item 2, advice to public and speakers. I take it that has been done.
Yes,
Thank
Chairman.
Thank you. Item 3 is minutes, pages 9 to 14 of your agenda. Does anyone have any queries with the minutes as recorded? Nobody? Right, in which case, can I sign them as a true record?
Agreed.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to item 4, which is apologies for absence.
We have apologies from Councillor Rolfe and Councillor Bedford.
Thank you. Number 5 is declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest? I can't see everyone on my screen, so
Chairman, there's a few hands raised.
Okay, if you could ask them to speak, I can't see them.
Councillor Whitbread, Holly Whitbread.
Thank you, Chairman. No declarations, but just to let you know that Councillor Chris Whitbread will be a couple of minutes late because he's in another meeting. Thank you.
Right, understood. Thank you. Who else have we got?
Councillor Burrows and Councillor Macready.
Actually, it's not pecuniary, but I know one of the objectors as a friend, and therefore I would like to leave the meeting at the point.
Okay, officers will now be aware of that. Thank you very much. Councillor Macready.
Thank you, Chairman. Non-pecuniary EPF 003321, which is the only one we've gotten tonight, as an Epping Town councillor. Also, 2 of the objectors are slightly known to me. I would like to stay in the meeting and I would like to maybe speak and vote, if that's okay.
Okay, thank you. Being members of a town or parish council has been noted as not being a reason to withdraw. Councillor Holly Whitbread, Holly, are you coming back to us again?
Yeah, sorry. Just to say that actually one of the objectors is known to me, but it's a non-pecuniary interest and I will be staying and voting. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anyone else declarations of interest? No? Okay, we will move on to any other business. Officers, do we have any other business?
No, Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. I will just mention one thing in passing. If you see the viewings of council meetings on the latest bulletin, you will note that Plans East has the highest number of viewings of any planning committee. I put this down in course to the well-informed and high quality of the debate at Plans East, but I'm sure other people may think there are other reasons involved as well. We will now go on to item 7, which is the Epping Forest District Local Plan Submission Version Planning Policy Briefing Note, which we should take notice of. We'll move on to 8, site visits. Members are aware that if anyone calls for a site visit, it will not happen and the application will be sent up to DDMC. Is there anyone asking for a site visit on this? Again, I can't see everyone. Officers, nobody's asking for a site visit.
No, Chairman.
Thank you. In which case we will go on to item 9. This is planning application 0033/21, 23 Buckingham Road, Epping, pages 15 to 20 of your agenda. Is that Mr. Courtney? Are you doing with this one?
That's right. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. If you'd like to start.
And good evening, councillors. So This plan application is for a part 2-storey, part single-storey rear extension and a single-storey side extension at number 23 Buckingham Road in Epping. The application is recommended for approval, subject to conditions, and is in front of members due to objections from the Town Council and neighbours. A copy of a land registry plan has been provided, which is just shown here, by the applicant due to previous concerns regarding land ownership and the impact on the adjacent parking provision. So I just want to quickly show you this. So the application property is a detached 3-storey dwelling. Immediately to the north of the site is a parking area, which is unrelated to the application site. I understand it's a parking area serving the flats to the north. So this is a photograph of the rear of the dwelling. So as you can see, it benefits from an existing ground floor projection. This photograph just shows the relationship with the neighbouring parking area, which can just be seen by the small roofs here, and the flats beyond. This is a view of the rear garden and the established landscaping that's situated between the site and the properties on Tower Road. This is another view of the rear of the property as existing, taken from the end of the garden. And then this shows the relationship between the site and the neighbouring parking area, previously referred to. The land ownership of the site includes the vegetated strip that can be seen in this photograph. These are the existing floor plans. These are the existing elevations. So I'm just going slowly just in case there's any delay in my presentation. I know sometimes there can be a lag. So there was a recently refused plan application for extensions on this property. The two reasons for refusal was firstly one of them was about insufficient information regarding land ownership and the potential impact on neighbouring parking spaces, and that was largely due to the frontward projection of the single-storey side extension that extended beyond the existing boundary wall. The second reason for refusal was regarding the flat-roofed first-floor extension that can be seen on these plans. These are the previously refused plans. So the current application has clarified the land ownership of the applicants. However, as well as that, the proposed side extension has been redesigned so that it doesn't extend beyond the existing boundary wall, doesn't go forward of the existing boundary wall. So the extension would end where that wall is by the vegetation strip in that photograph shown earlier. This is the proposed elevations. As you can see, the proposal was been redesigned so that it now has a crown roof atop the first floor rear extension rather than the previously proposed flat roof. These changes are considered sufficient enough to overcome the previous reasons for refusal. The application is not considered unacceptable with regards to any other matters that have been raised by the Town Council or the neighbours, and these did not form reasons for refusal in the previous application. As such, it's considered that the proposed extensions are acceptable, and therefore the application is recommended for approval subject to conditions. Back to you, members.
Thank you very much indeed. We have two speakers tonight. Our first speaker is Councillor Nigel Avey from Epping Town Council.
Thank you, Chairman, and good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good, just checking. I hope the committee will agree that it's unusual for the Town Council, a planning committee, to object to what on the surface appears to be a straightforward rear and side extension to a property. However, for several reasons, after taking representations from residents in adjoining neighbours, we have objected to this application in its revised form. The grounds of the Town Council's objection are set out in the report you have before you. To briefly summarise, the revised application apparently still causes impact on the neighbouring car parking spaces by reason of the proposed side development of the dwelling, thereby affecting a loss of amenity. And secondly, the Town Council considered the proposal as a whole to be overdevelopment, the grounds of which have been well summarised by the comments lodged as well by the Epping Society and other residents' objections, which are detailed again in the report before you. I hope you will agree with the Town Council's objection in whole or part. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Mark Kellinger, who is the applicant. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you. So good evening all. There are a few key points I'd like to address relating to my planning application this evening. This application for planning permission follows a previously refused application on 2 points communicated by the planning officer, both of which have now been addressed. We have altered the roof to remove the flat roof at first level. The side extension has been reduced and is within the site boundaries. The land registry plan for the site, which has previously been shared, shows the land ownership and that the extension proposed does not affect the neighbour's parking space. Also, the images, again shown previously, show the external wall and that it is set back from the parking space. The parish council say that the space is still affected. However, this is clearly not the case. Concerns have been raised about overdevelopment. These were not raised before. The extensions are above an existing patio area to the rear of the house. The neighbours' properties are not affected as they face away from the site. It is also mentioned that trees and wildlife will be affected by the works. However, the existing trees will not be touched as part of the works. A specialist tree report and protection plan has been prepared to make sure that the trees are protected during and after the works. A comment has been raised about drainage. However, when the site was developed, a subsystem was installed to cope with the surface water. As mentioned in the officer's report, the extensions will not materially increase the surface water runoff. Comments have been raised about overlooking properties in Tower Road. However, these gardens are around 50 metres in length, plus there are trees to the side and rear of the boundary which prevent any overlooking. There are also windows already on the rear elevation. The windows on the first floor level are only for bedrooms and will not be used as main rooms. That concludes my points that I'd like to make this evening, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, members, the recommended decision is to grant permission with conditions. Who would like to start? I can't see everyone, so officers. Councillor Macready. Yep, would you like to begin?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I take on board all the points that have been mentioned, but I would like to highlight the green area between the rear of this property and the properties in Tower Road. It is an area of natural wildlife. There are creatures there like hedgehogs. Sorry, I'm always going on about hedgehogs, aren't I? Bats, newts, and goodness knows what else. And this area really needs to be preserved. We're losing so much of our natural habitat these days, and it really concerns me that we're going to lose this. Also, the residents behind this, was it 23 Buckingham Road, they really enjoy at the moment the life with the wildlife there. And surely, if we have this development going ahead, it's going to affect the green area, it's going to affect the wildlife. And surely that means we're going to affect the amenity of the properties that are in Tower Road. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think Councillor Janet Whitehouse was next, and then Councillor Stalker.
Yes, Chairman, there's been quite a lot of reference from the applicant and from the officer to the reasons for refusal. Usually in the report, when an application has been refused, we get the reasons for refusal and we get some discussion of it. But that's rather lacking in this report, which is unfortunate because various people have referred to it. Yes, I have concerns about the side extension. This is a really lovely estate. It's beautifully designed, really has coherence. And once you get one of the houses being changed, it does impact on the overall design, and others will follow. I must admit I can't see any planning reasons there to refuse, but I'm really sorry to see the side extension there because it will change the look of this really, really attractive estate. I don't know if this is one where an Article 4 direction would be a way of keeping the design. I mean, we've asked for it for the Orchards, which was a lovely bungalow estate, but now is really quite spoiled because of all the variety of dormers that are being installed for bungalows to become houses. But this really does have a lovely coherence. It's really nicely designed. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Stalker.
Thank you, Chairman. It's one for Mr. Courtney, really. I'm concerned about the new boundary wall on the ground floor in relation to these parking spaces adjacent. I can see that the original plan would have put a brick wall at the edge of the shrubbery area. Where does this new proposed wall go, please?
Yep, that's no problem. What I'll do is let me just reshare this photograph because that's probably the easiest way to explain. So yeah, the previous application proposed to bring the wall forward to I don't know if you can see my pointer actually on this.
You
can. Oh, brilliant. Okay,
cursor. Yep.
That's good. So yeah, to sort of roughly around here. So it did extend into this vegetated area. So it would have sort of extended into this currently undeveloped part, and obviously enclosed this parking space slightly. The current application doesn't extend beyond this brick wall. So this existing brick wall, I'm not saying will remain. It may remain, but this brick wall is the limit of the extension. And what they will do is, all you'll actually see from the street is just a slight increase in that brick wall in place of what's already here. So that's the extent of the side extension. I know there were some concerns raised about a potential for scaffolding and whatnot on the parking space, restricting it. But obviously, if they don't own that site, they can't just go and put scaffolding up on it. They would need the consent of the owner, and obviously it's perfectly possible to erect these sort of buildings, particularly small structures like this, without having to have huge amounts of scaffolding on both sides. So I don't see how the current scheme would have any impact on this parking space.
Thanks. I'll take the point. The point I think was made before was that a brick wall there would have made that parking space useless because you could open your car door into a shrubbery, but you can't open it into a brick wall. And I see that the plans have now changed. And as far as I'm concerned, that solves that one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We've got Councillor Holly Whitbread. You have your hand up. Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. This application is in my ward, and I can really see residents' concerns, particularly in relation to the loss of screening at the back of the property. I've got a couple of questions to the officer. Is there anything we can do in terms of conditions to strengthen screening, in terms of in the back garden for the overlooking for Tower Road? Also in relation to the green space, which Councillor Macready referred to, obviously the rest of the green space, I believe, is looked after by Country Care. Is there anything that we could do to help protect that green space at all? So they're my first two questions, if that's okay, Chairman.
Yes, no, please go ahead, Mr. Courtney.
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, in all honesty, I don't really see that it would be necessary to add anything further within the site. Obviously, we can only control development within the site. Again, sorry, actually, it might. I feel it might be easier to share my screen again, just so you can sort of refresh yourself with the garden. So this is the rear garden. You can see beyond the fence line here is the established landscape, established greening that we're talking about here. That's outside of the application site. I mean, it is very robust. It's very well established greenery. Obviously, there's absolutely no intention to remove any of that, and so it wouldn't be possible to remove any of that. It is beyond the application site. I'm not entirely convinced that for a development like this, there's any need to add to the screening. I mean, this appears to me to be more than sufficient to screen the existing property and the the additional extension. I'm just going to flick back to here, because again, from the point of view of the extension, I mean, we're only really talking about extending it sort of on this patio area. It's not going particularly far into the site. It won't involve any removal of the existing vegetation. Obviously, we have suggested conditions about retention of landscaping and about tree protection, which is more important because obviously that would protect trees outside of the site as well as protect trees in the site. So we are very keen to ensure that is retained. But I don't, in all honesty, see why a residential extension such as this would have any impact on that green space.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other councillors? Councillor Phillip.
Thank you, Chairman. I understand the concerns around this, but I think they also answered pretty well that what we're looking at here is an extension. It clearly, as an extension, has no impact on the green space at the end of the garden. The side extension is within the existing dwelling. It's where the existing side is. It's not a significant extension out the back. There's no additional overlooking as a result of it. I may not like the look of the extension, but I can't honestly see any sound planning reasons why we could refuse permission this one. I cannot see myself any reason why we could go against the officer's recommendation on this one. And although it's not a very pretty looking extension, it's not a bad quality extension, and therefore I shall support the officer's recommendation.
Thank you very much. Any other councillors? I can't see any other councillors coming forward. Councillor Macready, of course, was mentioning the hedgehogs and other wildlife. One of the biggest problems, of course, is they can't get through fences, solid fences. So small gaps for wildlife to roam more freely would be an advantage in a lot of developments, but that's not what we're voting on tonight. If no other councillors wish to speak, the recommended decision is to grant permission with the conditions as shown. And if officers would please call the roll, it's either grant permission, refuse permission, or abstain. Thank you.
Okay, we have Councillor Bolton.
Councillor Bolton, for approval.
Councillor Burrows is in the waiting room. Councillor Hadley.
Councillor Hadley, for approval.
Councillor Jones.
Councillor Jones, for approval.
Councillor Macready.
Councillor Macready, sorry, yep, against.
Councillor McIver, you entered late, so are you abstaining?
Yes, I had some technical problems. I missed the first part of the presentation, so I will abstain.
Thank you. Councillor Morgan.
Councillor Morgan for grant.
Councillor Phillip.
Councillor Phillip for grant.
Councillor Stalker.
Councillor Stalker for grant.
Councillor Vaz.
Councillor Vaz, grant permission.
Councillor C. Whitbread.
Councillor C. Whitbread, grant permission.
Councillor H. Whitbread.
Councillor H. Whitbread, abstain.
Abstain. Councillor J. H. Whitehouse.
Councillor Janet Whitehouse, abstain.
Abstain. Councillor John Whitehouse.
Councillor John Whitehouse for.
Councillor Brady, I know you entered late as well, so you're abstaining?
Yes.
And of Councillor Kesker.
Councillor Kesker for granting.
Okay. That's 10 for. 1 against, and 4 abstentions.
Right, thank you very much indeed. In which case, members, planning permission is granted. We will now move on to item 10, which is the exclusion of public and press. Do we have any reasons to exclude? Officers? No? No one's coming forward then. In which case, I will close the meeting then at 7:28, and thank you for attending, and thank you, officers, for steering us through yet another